You ever have one of those days where you think, well, nothing wild can happen today, right? Yeah, that was me, just kicking back by my lake, minding my own business. Sun going down, breeze off the water, everything feeling exactly how it's supposed to, until out of nowhere I catch sight of a car creeping down my driveway. Real slow, like they're worried they might wake the fish. For a second I figure, maybe it's a lost delivery guy or some friend surprising me until the back door swings open and out pops this kid can't be more than 10 walking toward my lake with all the confidence in the world like he's about to claim it for himself. And that, folks, is when I realized the universe had decided my evening was going to get a whole lot more interesting. Now let me back up a sec, because this wasn't just any kid. This was Karen's boy. And if you've ever had a neighbor named Karen, I'm talking about that kind of Karen, the HOA president, queen of the complaint emails, the woman who once threatened to call animal control because my dog barked at a squirrel. Her. And now her son's strutting down my property like he's got a deed in his back pocket. So I do what anyone would I call out, trying to keep my voice steady. Hey buddy, you're on private property. You can't be here. He stops, half turns, and I swear this kid gives me a smirk that says, you think you're in charge here. And then with that perfect blend of innocence and smugness only a 10-year-old can manage, he chirps back, Mom said I can ignore the rules. I gotta admit, for a split second I was stunned. I've dealt with Karen plenty, but this was a new low. It's one thing to be entitled yourself, it's another to recruit your kid for the cause. I'm staring at this little guy feeling a mix of anger, disbelief, and honestly a bit of amusement, because you have to laugh, right? Otherwise you'd scream. I take a step closer, keep my tone as level as I can. Look, your mom doesn't get to decide. This is my property and you need to head back. The kid just shrugs, laughs, even like laws are some kind of inside joke. And I'm starting to realize this isn't about a lake or a kid or even Karen. This is about testing boundaries, mind the laws, maybe even his own. And here's the twist, the kid's got his phone out. I know that look. He's texting someone, Karen probably painting me as the neighborhood villain. I can already see her storming down, cell phone in hand, making threats about lawsuits and city ordinances. But I'm not backing down. I call out again, try to keep it civil. Hey, listen, I don't want trouble, but if you don't go back to your car, I'm going to have to call the cops. That gets his attention a little. The smirk drops for a second. And then right on cue, I see Karen herself, speed walking down the driveway, arms flailing, voice already raised before she's even close enough for me to make out the words. You can't talk to my son like that, she screams. I just take a breath. Try not to let her drag me down to her level. I'm not talking to him any kind of way, Karen. I'm just enforcing my rights. Your son can't just walk on my land because you say so. She huffs puffs, clearly thinking if she makes enough noise I'll fold. But this time I'm not moving an inch. And then, because of course sirens. Someone's called the police, maybe Karen, maybe one of the other neighbors watching this circus from behind their curtains. Sirens in my quiet neighborhood sound like thunder. You'd think the apocalypse was coming. The cops roll up, 2 officers, step out. Eyes darting from Karen to me to the boy sizing up the mess. Karen bolts over to them like she's running for office. Officer, he's threatening my child, all because my son wanted to visit the lake. She actually says ridiculous rules like property lines are optional if you're mad enough. The officers are pros, though. One walks up to me, cool as can be. Sir, can you tell us what happened? So I lay it out simple, calm facts only. This is my property. The boy came down here without permission. I asked him to leave. He refused. That's all. I glance at the kid gone. Is the tough guy act replaced with a little worry? Karen's still yapping. He's just a child. He shouldn't have to follow these rules. I look at the officers, look at her, and I say, my property rights don't care about age. The law's the law. And for a moment, nobody says anything. The younger officer kneels, gets on the boy's level. Did your mom tell you it was okay to come here? The kid hesitates, then nods. Did you ask if it was okay with the owner? Shakes his head. It's like you can see the light bulb go off. Maybe rules do apply after all. The officer stands, turns to Karen and says, Ma'am, you can't let your child ignore private property. It's your responsibility. Karen sputters, but the words don't come. The officers walk the boy back to her car, make it crystal clear, no more trespassing or there'll be consequences. I watch them go, relief flooding in. For once the system works, entitlement gets shut down, and the world spins a little straighter. Or so I thought. Because, see, if you know anything about people like Karen, you know a little thing like the law won't slow them down. Not for long. Not even an hour passes before I catch sight of her pacing her yard phone glued to her ear, muttering into it like she's plotting the D-Day invasion. She's probably calling everyone she knows HOA, lawyer, city council, trying to whip up a storm over her son's traumatic experience by the evil lake man. I let her be not about to take the bait. But you can feel the tension heavy in the air like a thunderstorm ready to break. That night I take a walk along the water, hoping to shake it off, when what do I see? But Karen's car parked out by my fence line. She's whispering to her son, waving him toward the property, trying the same move again, thinking I'll blink first. My patience is wearing thin, but I remind myself, cool heads win fights. So I call out, voice loud and clear, Karen, last warning. Your son steps on my land again, the police get involved. She looks at me stunned, like she's never heard a person say no before. He's just a kid. You're overreacting, she shouts, desperate for a reaction. I ignore the bait, repeat myself, and sure enough, she tries to egg her son on again. That's when I see her digging around in her bag. My heart skips. What's she up to? Not waiting to find out, I dial the non-emergency police line, calmly lay out the facts, and within minutes, here come the sirens again. The boy freezes as the car rolls up, the cops step out, and this time, they're not playing. Ma'am, you've been warned. If your son trespasses, there will be legal consequences. Karen's face goes red. Her son looks like he wants to disappear. The officers escort them off once more, and for the first time all day, I feel like I can finally breathe. You'd think that'd be enough, but some folks, they just can't quit. Next morning, I'm up early making sure my fences and gates are locked tight. Sun's rising, lakes sparkling. Looks peaceful, almost too peaceful, you know? Then around mid-morning, here she comes again. Karen, this time with her son right beside her, both wearing that look that says, "We dare you." They drive straight onto my property. Not the driveway, my land. I step out, phone in hand, start recording for my own protection. Karen, this is private property. Stop the car. She doesn't. She just stares like I'm invisible. Now I know when things are about to go sideways, so I call 911, keep my voice steady. Yeah, I've got someone trespassing, refusing to leave, driving recklessly. Before I can finish, I hear those familiar sirens again, faster this time. The boy tries to make a run for the lake, but I block his path. Don't touch him, just stand my ground. He hesitates and, for the first time, looks scared. The officers roll up, hop out, and the lead cop says, "Ma'am, you've been warned. This is trespassing. You need to leave now or face further action." Karen argues, but it's over. They escort her and her son off and make it clear, try this again, and it's legal trouble for real. And just like that, it's done. Their car disappears down the road, and for the first time in days, the tension breaks. I stand there, watching the sun set over my lake, and think about what it means to draw a line, literal and figurative. See, boundaries aren't just lines on a map. They're a way of saying, I matter too. My space, my rules, and sometimes the only way to get respect is to stand up and demand it, no matter how relentless the opposition. Karen and her son. They learned something that day. I think rules apply to everyone, no matter how entitled you feel or who your mom is. And me, I learned that even when it feels impossible, sometimes doing the hard thing pays off. Not just for me, but for every neighbor who's ever had to stand up to a bully with a clipboard. So, let me throw it to you. What would you have done in my shoes? Would you have stood your ground or just let it go? Drop your thoughts below. I want to hear every wild HOA story you've got. And if you enjoyed this saga, go ahead, hit that subscribe, toss a like, and stick around for the next crazy ride. Out here, you never know what the next quiet afternoon might bring.